Do you need to convert an audio recording to MIDI? Maybe you just recorded an amazing guitar performance, but there are a few notes you want to fix without re-recording the whole thing. Or maybe you want to take that riff you played and instantly use it on piano, strings, or any other instrument. Or perhaps you're trying to learn a song and you want to transcribe the audio to see what notes are being played. Whatever your reason, you're not alone. A lot of musicians run into this situation. So today, I'm going to show you at least 5 different tools that can convert audio to MIDI. I tested them on the same audio recording so you can see exactly how they compare. But here's what makes this video worth watching. Some tools cost $100, some cost way more, and some are completely free. The question is, which ones actually deliver and which ones waste your time and money? Stick around to the end to see the results, because the answer might surprise you, like it did to me. So one way to convert audio to MIDI is to use RipX DAW. With RipX DAW, you can drag your sound file, like I'm about to do. First, I'm listening to it. Okay, so I'm dragging it in, and I will show you the different options that you have. So you can get this to try it out for free for 21 days. So you have to add the audio file to RipX DAW. It takes some time to do that. But once it does that, it looks like Melodyne. You have the pitch data available. Okay, so now we want to export to MIDI. So you select MIDI detailed and then do the export. So once you have the MIDI, I want to rename it so it's clear that it's coming from Ripex. And then I'm going to load it into my DAW, which is Logic Pro. This is the one that we're going to be using for this video to show the differences of the audio to MIDI conversions. So let's listen to it. I do not like how it sounds. Maybe I'm doing something wrong with it, but the information that I have is that if you don't want to pay for Melodyne, Ripex DX, it's a good option. I hear a lot of pitch bends, so I don't think this is the way to go, at least for me. So the next option that I'm going to try out is Melodyne. So basically, Ripex is they give you a trial, but it's $99, the basic or the first version that has this MIDI, this audio to MIDI conversion. But then Melodyne gives you a trial too, but it's much more expensive, and it costs a lot of money. I'll show you that later. So I imported the file to Melodyne. So the nice thing is that it's pretty fast. And now I will export the MIDI to my saved location. And I'm going to rename it so that I know this is coming from Melodyne, so I can do the comparison in the future. Okay, so I'm going to drag it into my DAW again, Logic Pro. And just like before, it had the classical acoustic guitar. So that's what I'm going to use from now on. Classical acoustic guitar. I'm going to also solo this track so that I can hear it. So here it is. Let's listen to it. Just listen to it for a little bit. It's not that bad. So far, so good. So let's do the comparison. Again, the Ripex DX, the Ripex DAW, sorry, isn't that great, or at least I don't know how to use it. So I'm going to rename the region also so I remember this is coming from Melodyne, this new one. All right, so my next option is a tool that I use. It's called AnthemScore. It's a paid tool, and one thing I like about AnthemScore is that it can not only do the conversion to MIDI, but it will also transcribe the file to notation, to regular note notation and tab form for guitars, which is pretty cool. So this is a great tool for learning notation and different things. So right now what I'm doing is making sure that I choose the highest accuracy for the conversion. And it does take a while. So this is one of the longest, basically, from all the tools that I have used, because of the accuracy. If you reduce the accuracy, it's going to go faster. But because you're choosing the highest accuracy, then it's going to take a while. So one thing that is different about AnthemScore is that you can have a track that has different instruments, and it's probably better for classical types of instruments like piano, even guitar, flute, and all of that. And one of the options that we selected in the beginning is to determine what kind of instrument the different sounds are coming from. All right, still working and still working on processing the files. So I'm going to show you different websites. So one of them is the AnthemScore. Shows you the different prices that you have. You have AnthemScore Lite, which is $29, 1 year of free software updates. With the next version, $44, you get to edit the notes, but then you also get to export the MIDI. So which is the whole purpose of this, and the notation. And then with the next version, you get lifetime free software updates. And so with AnthemScore, you can try out the software. You can try it out on the web. As you saw, there's a way to do the audio to MIDI conversion for free on the web for a few seconds. But there's also a trial. Download the trial. AnthemScore gives you a 30-day free trial. You can download this version and try it out. And you only get 30 seconds, kind of like what you do on the web, but it gives you an idea how to try the program. So one thing I want to try to do is, while we're still waiting for AnthemScore, is to do the Audio-to-MIDI inside Logic Pro. So this is another option. You have to turn on Flex data. Well, now AnthemScore is done. We can see the notation, hear some of the sound. But what we're going to do is we're going to export the MIDI to the same location that that we have it. And you can export as PDF, MIDI. Let's see here. So I'm going to save it and make sure that I put the AnthemScore, add that to the name, export that out. I also want to show you that you can get the tabs or the guitar tabs. You have to select tablature in the settings here for the instrument. And then the format, I select PDF. Make sure it has tablature. So I save it. So going back, I have we're gonna test out the Logic Pro flex pitch that we have to select. Flex pitch. So we're going to the edit menu and then create MIDI track data. Rename this to say Logic Pro. Renaming the track and the region to say Logic Pro guitar. And I'm going to use the classical acoustic guitar like I did in the other ones. You can see that Logic Pro is not very good at converting this polyphonic audio to MIDI. I believe that if you sing, I don't know how to sing, but if you're able to carry a tune, you can record that and then you can convert that to MIDI fine. But just having monophonic sounds. So this is the AnthemScore one, and this is the tablature or tabs, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know how to play the guitar. I don't know how to read tabs basically, but I know you're basically reading the notes, how to play it on the guitar. So that's cool, that you can not only get the MIDI but also transcribe it. So this is coming from AnthemScore. It's not bad, but it has some mistakes. So you basically can use it, but you have to fix a lot of things. So if we were to compare that to, of course, Logic Pro, it's much better. And if you were to look at Ripex DX, AnthemScore would be better. But then if you look at the Melodyne, in this example, Melodyne was better. I have cases where AnthemScore was better than Melodyne in certain cases. So far, Melodyne is winning this in the audio to MIDI conversion, but Melodyne is pretty expensive. The editor, which is the level that you have to buy the Melodyne to get the MIDI conversion, is, I believe, $399. So I have to delete this track because this AnthemScore is also hearing percussion, and so it's putting that into the MIDI. And so that's another thing. It can do percussions. Sometimes it's not very good at that, but just something to be aware if you want to give it a try and see if it helps with what you want. Not only converting instruments, but also percussion sounds to drum MIDI. So now we're going to try Prism, which is what I've been doing a lot lately, converting guitar sounds or piano. So unfortunately, this is a plugin that you use that it's paid. So in order to use this plugin in my Mac 2 computer, you can download the trial, you can buy it from the website. The trial is pretty good because it gives you 21 days, I think, to try it out. So one of the things is that it can do something called ARA, like Melodyne, which is a protocol that if your DAW supports ARA, it can do the conversion pretty fast. But unfortunately, with the Mac, there's two versions of Logic Pro. There's the Intel version and the M2 or the ARM versions. And it shows you if I wanted to do this in my Mac, I would have to use the Intel version. And so I would, it's a pain because I would have to go back and forth between the two different versions on my computer. And last time I tried this, even though it worked, it ended up using a lot of my resources. For some reason, my computer got hung up. I would have to not do this anymore, but it's something that can be done. Once you buy the plugin, you can do this on your computer The other thing is I also was able to do the ARA with other DAWs that support ARA. I don't know if it's ARA or ARA, but I was able to use it in Reaper, which is free to try for 60 days. So this is done now, and I'm showing here that there's different algorithms that you can try, but for guitar, unless it's distorted guitar, the general algorithm is the one that you can use. So I was saying you can have this run on a DAW that supports ARA. I tried it on Reaper and Luna. Both of them are free or free to try. And then you can do the conversion pretty fast. And then you can drag the output of that, you can drag it into Logic Pro. Okay, so Prism is usually good, but for this particular case, I found that there were some notes that I did not like that you have to fix basically after the fact. I think in this particular case, AnthemScore was better than Prism. And then Melodyne was pretty close, and I think it's probably the best of the three for this case. So I had different music files get converted differently. So Prism is not bad. It's just that the other ones may be better because you have to do a lot of corrections on this one. So I'm going to show you here, you have Melodyne Studio. It gives you 30-day free to try. And then you can try it in the different levels. It explains on the website how to switch between the different versions in case you want to buy Melodyne. Because Melodyne is just not for doing the MIDI conversion, it's also for fixing singing like auto-tune, but you can see it's pretty expensive. So you basically need the editor version. I believe that's the version that you need to do the conversion. So right now is $3.99. On Plugin Boutique, there was a way recently, there was a special that you can go about this and get the editor. I think it was for half the price, like $150, but you have to go through all this special way of doing the upgrade. But that special is not there anymore. I searched for it and it was like a limited time, quote unquote. Anyway, so that special is not available. So you'd have to find out when to get that special. But in the meantime, you can try it out and see if it's something that you want to do. So the other options that we can try are free. And I was pretty surprised with the outcome for this particular track. This one comes from the Spotify company of all companies. This is a free open source. It's web only, I think, or you can download it. I'm not sure. But it came out pretty good. So I'm going to download the MIDI and I'm going to check it out in Logic Pro. So I'm going to drag it in. Going to change to the classical acoustic guitar. So this one came out okay. Now that I'm listening to it again, I believe that the tempo defaulted to 120 or something because it's kind of slowed down. But that's something that you can fix pretty easily. But it was pretty good, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. So I was comparing to Prism there, and AnthemScore, and Melodyne. Ripex. And we're not even going to try Logic Pro again. So we're trying to review. So some of the things I wanted to try in this video was Ableton Live. I do have the light version, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. And the other one is I have FL Studio as a trial. And I was able to see the MIDI, but I wasn't able to export the MIDI. I don't know if it's because I have a trial or something. So the next one is this other open source one called Neural Note. And so I've used this in the past with various kinds of success. So I'm going to download this file and install it to my computer. So one thing is you can install this as a virtual instrument, or you can install it as a standalone. If you install it as a VST or AU for Logic, you can use it in your DAW. I'm just gonna install it as a standalone. So basically, the way it works is you can drag this to the application there, and it will do the conversion. There's some parameters. So there's some parameters there that you can use for changing the notes, the sensitivity, and things like that. I'm just gonna leave it in the default. So you basically drag the output by selecting this here. You get the MIDI out. And here it already has a good name. So just gonna put a dash there. And then I'm gonna drag it into my DAW like I've been doing. And using the acoustic guitar, classical, and then solo it out and see how it sounds. Sounds good, but it sounds very slow. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so I see the problem. This is defaulting to 120, which is, I think, was the case with the Spotify thing. So let's see what the tempo is by showing that in our LCD display. So let's try 108, or I can copy this, paste it into the tempo here. Gonna hit enter, and then I think that sounds better. Going to drag it out, get this new MIDI, and then let's delete this one and rename it. I'm going to give it a number 2, just so it's a different name. It says multiple tempo events detected. Okay, let's see if we can still drag it in. Okay, so it came out with this, I think it came out to 108. It's varying the tempo, but it sounds good. It's just that it has a different tempo because it's even smaller than the other MIDI regions. But as you can hear, it's pretty good. So I'm very surprised. And sometimes the free tools sometimes are even better than the paid tools. Not in all the cases, but in some cases. So I do highly suggest this tool to be used. The Neural Note app, which is free. So this one I didn't name the MIDI region to say basic pitch or the Spotify, basically. And so now we can hear the different options that we created. That was the basic pitch. So one thing I didn't want to do in this video was to show you different VSTs, how it sounds with VST. So I'm just using a clean VST from Logic. So in my notes, I had this Samp Lab thing that you can upload your file to do the MIDI conversion, and it appears that this is not the site is closing, so you can install it and try it out. And I tried it out as a standalone app, and I was having problems. So I couldn't figure out how to export to MIDI is grayed out. So I'm not sure what this is all about. So, but anyway, the site is closing, so whatever this is probably not going to be supported in the future like the website says. So I didn't want to keep pursuing this option. But this was a free tool. Another site that I found to do audio to MIDI conversion was this Pure MIDI, and I tried to import the WAV file, but it has some size limitations. So what I ended up doing was I converted to MP3, and gave it a try. I'm using Audacity to do the conversion. So once I had the MP3 file, I then was able to drag it in, and then I find out that they want you to use the Pro account or something. So basically, it seems kind of weird. It seems like this website just wants you to sign up for a subscription to do this conversion, to even try it out, which I didn't like. So I stopped looking at this website. So back in Logic Pro, if we wanted to do the comparison. Anyway, this is, I guess I'm just being funny here and playing all the conversions at once. But basically, we found out that there are some paid tools and some free tools that you can use that are amazing, that you can use for free and do your audio to MIDI conversion. If you like this video, like it and share it with others. I hope you subscribe, and thank you so much. See you in the next video.